Hello everyone, it's Amy, and welcome to week 27 of Build Your Stash and Craft. We've made it through over half of a year, which makes me very happy. And this week we are going to do Inchies, magnets for our refrigerator, puzzle piece magnets, and any type of magnet that you'd like to make. So I already started here, and I thought I'd get, just a little bit of a head start, but then come back and show you what I'm doing. So you can see how I got the paper that I've got here. And so I just chose some colors, and I have apricot and kiwi. I have purple iris, yellow, cobalt blue, I don't know what that is, Laguna, and white. So the first thing I did was I painted my puzzle pieces white, and just to give them a backing, they started out like this, and I didn't want that as a backing because it's too dark, so I just painted them white. On the other side of these puzzle pieces, this puzzle was like like shape shifting, I forget what they call that, but anyways, so even that's kind of cool all on its own. You could just make those into magnets just like that. But I did the back side, and after I painted them white, I just started to put some patterns on them, and then I had put all of my colors on my palette. When I was done putting my color on the puzzle pieces, then I started putting what was left on my paper. And this is going to be the paper that we're going to use to make our Inchies. So I just did a few different things. My paint's getting just a little bit dry here. I'm just striping on them, and I have some that I'm putting, and all I did here was I just started with the purple, and I put a purple stripe, and then I went through and I put a blue one next to it because that was my next color. And then every time that I get a new color, I just put a stripe in above the last color that I put on there. So just simple. And it pretty much, I don't think I'm going to be able to really get much yellow on here. But maybe there'll be a few spots. I've got a little white spot there that I can put some yellow in. And for me, I find that when I'm making a stripe, if I rest my pinky on my surface, which is my hand right now because I'm trying to get closer, but if I rest my pinky, it helps me to get a better line. That's just me. Everyone will find their own way to do things the easiest for them. So, and I liked the green, so I did the edge of my puzzle piece in the green when I got that far. And there we go. So I've got that like that. And then I just took my paintbrush, the side of it, and I just patted it right down on this puzzle piece. Just no necessary rhyme or reason, just wherever there was some white. I just patted it down like that. Just pat, pat. And when I ran out of paint on my paintbrush, I just called it good. Okay, so that's how I did my puzzle pieces. This one, I'm just doing it kind of like a patchwork. And remember that wherever your color is, don't forget to wrap that down around the edge so that your edges are covered. It's the little finishing touches that make your projects look nice. So sometimes if you look at a project and you think, check and see if you've done the little finishing touches, because a lot of times that is what it is that makes you think it doesn't look quite right. So these would make nice little like stuffers into a card. If you want to send somebody a card, but you're not going to send them a gift, this just makes a nice little something to put in that card. A lot of people will throw a card away, even if it's a handmade card. After a while, they'll leave them sit out nicely, and After a while, they will throw them away, but the little puzzle piece will go on their fridge or somewhere, and whoops, and they'll keep that around forever. So it's nice to just put in a little extra something that they can keep. It's not going to take up a lot of room, and every time that they look at it, they'll think of you. So there we go. I like that, and we've got a little room left for our yellow. Now with this one here, I just took the side of my brush and just patted it straight up and down to get those lines. I was going to do it in a bunch of colors, but when I got that done, I really liked it, so I just painted the edges purple, and I call that one actually done. Then what I did with what I had left, I just took my paint and just filled in, or just didn't really fill in. I just went ahead just all over my paper. Again, I started with the purple, so I just started making purple little blobs everywhere. And then I went to the blue and just, went next to the purple and made little blobs. And then I did the turquoise, and then I did the green. And each time I just made them touch each other somewhere. It doesn't have to be perfect. If there's little brush strokes or a little, thick parts or whatever, that's totally fine. I kind of, like there, I kind of went over the purple. That's okay. These are a little bit translucent, these paints, when you put them on in just one coat. And I like the looks of that, because I like how the colors just kind of show through a little bit when you add the next color. And then you don't have to worry about trying to be perfect. If you go over the color, don't worry about it. And if it covers it, that's good. If it shows through, that's good. All's good. Excuse me. When you're just playing, and now I sat this morning, I was watching a video this morning while I was doing this, and it was just so relaxing to just sit and play. And that's what art is supposed to be about. It's supposed to just, sometimes you're actually making something for someone, but a lot of times it's just because you need something to keep your hands busy, you need something to keep your mind busy. I'm not the type of person that can just sit and watch TV all the time. Even when I watch the YouTube videos, a lot of times I have to be doing something. It's just hard for me to sit still. And so this is the type of thing that I really like to do, just to keep my hands busy. And it's just relaxing. It stops me from thinking about anything else. I'm not really concentrating. I'm just looking and watching the colors go on, kind of choosing a little bit where I want to put them. And to do that, you have to think a little bit about what you're doing. And so it takes some other things off of your mind. And that's the lovely thing about art. I think it's good for the brain. I think it's good for your heart. Even just to take some stressors off sometimes. And so that's why we art for no reason. You just do it because it feels good. So I'm almost done with my orange here, and when I get all done, then I just take my dry brush and put it over on the edge of the paper after I've used up all of my paint. I'm just trying to make sure I have a little orange everywhere, and I'm making sure that I use it up. And this is just what I called one drop. I just put the bottle there and just dropped it down one time and wound up with this much paint. So one drip of each of these colors is going to give us inchies. It's going to give us puzzle pieces. And this is cardstock that I'm working on here. I think that's about the end of my orange. So I'm now going to just use up what I have. And then I'm going to go dry brush over on the edge. That gives a totally different look. The dry brushing does. And I originally did that with my purple because I couldn't quite make it all the way across the page, so I was just wiping my purple on there and decided I really liked the looks of that. So then I saved that spot and didn't put any solid color over there so that I could dry brush each color over there. But I don't want to go over there until I basically get all of the paint off of my brush. And then I'm going to go over there and put a little bit of this color on very lightly with the dry brush. I want to try and get the big globs of paint that have moved up my brush. I want to kind of get those off of there. Oh, there's Papa. Okay, and so that's about all the paint that I have left on my brush. So now I'm just going to go over here and just rub my brush. Oops, let's move that puzzle piece. And just wipe my brush in the white spots. I am trying to like not necessarily miss the other colors, but I'm not going right on top of them because I want a little bit of that definition. And so when I cut this for Inchies, this is going to look totally different than that. And it's all used with the same paste. Make sure that you keep your brush, this is a flat brush. Make sure that you keep your brush flat when you're doing this because you don't want to ruin your brush. You don't want to be rubbing hard on the side. But to rub hard on the flat will not hurt your brush. And there we go. I can't really get any more off. So that's it for the orange. Now I'm going to just go through with the yellow, and I'm going to fill in these couple of last pieces here. Put some dots on here, and I've decided to make the edges of this one yellow. I'm going to do that right this second. The other reason I dry brushed was because so long as your colors are close, you can go to your next color without cleaning your brush. But when I do something that has an edge on it, instead of going this way where your brush can catch and leave a glob of yellow on top of your project, I turn it over and go this way so that it pops off the puzzle piece when you get to the top. And by doing that, it's not putting the color on the top of your puzzle piece. You might get a glob, see, like there's a little glob on the bottom. You might get a glob on the bottom, but we don't really care about that. That's the back. So that is why I start going from back to front when I'm doing the edges of something and I don't want that color on the front of my puzzle piece or on whatever it is that you're doing that has an edge like this. Because you always take the chance that your paintbrush might grab the edge and pull some of that paint off onto your project. Well, you want that. See how it's like kind of grabbed on there, but yet the front looks good. So that's how I paint the edges of things. Okay, so I'm going to let you go for a second. I have to get Papa his breakfast, and for you, it'll just be a second, and I'll be right back. Just a really quick tip here. I finished the yellow, and I wound up with one spot, and it's not much, but I have one spot here where I just could not get the yellow to stretch that far. So you saw how far one drip of paint went. It painted all of our pieces, and it painted this whole piece of paper. I don't want to put a drip on my palette because I'm just going to waste it. So just take off your top, dip your brush into the top just like that, and then you can finish that one little piece. I always used to take out extra paint, and then I'd be so mad that I had this extra paint on my palette, and and I didn't want to waste it. So I just wanted to show you that really quick, just a way to get just a touch of paint without wasting. And I'm sure you may have seen other people do that before, but I just wanted to make sure, if you hadn't seen it, that you know that's the way to get just a touch of paint. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I pulled out some of my foam stamps, some black and white paint. I've got my permanent markers here, my paper, and my puzzle pieces, and we're just going to play. Now, one thing I wanted to try is I want to put some of our spackle on one of the puzzle pieces that I pulled out that I haven't painted yet. And I wanted to just show you, originally when we did this, I stirred my spackle right up right away, and it was a little bit thin. Now see, this has quite a bit of liquid on the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that liquid and I'm going to pour it off because I don't want my spackle super thin. So, but I'm going to keep this and pour it back on top when I'm done to keep my spackle moist. So if you've got a little container, don't put it in a container that you're going to eat out of. Just put it in a little, one of your art space containers. You should always keep anything that you use for your art room separate from anything that you use in your kitchen, because you don't want to contaminate something, especially if it's plastic. It's going to pick up whatever it is that you put in it. So, and I just thought that I would take one of these puzzle pieces and just put some of this on it. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with it, but I just wanted to play with it. I'm just going to put some little peaks on it, and then this will take a while to dry. We probably won't even get to finish this today. But there we go. Just kind of put some little peaks on it, and just, I'm going to set it there, set it aside. And I'm just going to do one. Oh, what the heck. While I have it out, I might as well do these other couple that I never used. So, and then I have also pulled out my brand new paper trimmer, and I'm going to use that to cut my inchies, because that will be so easy to cut them that way, especially since I'm not a good straight cutter. If you don't have a paper trimmer, if you didn't get your paper trimmer yet, then draw your lines on the back side of your paper so that you don't have any lines on your inchie itself, which really won't make a difference because by the time you decorate it, those lines are not going to show up anyways. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of flatten this back out, and I'm going to pour that back on top and make sure that that's sealed good. Okay, so what we're going to start with, let's cut our paper. Now, you can do this many different ways. You can decorate your paper and then cut it up. I've got it as decorated as I want, but you could doodle on it just like this. You could stamp on it just like this and then cut it up. I would prefer to cut them and then decorate them so that I can put my decoration where I want it. But so what I've done is I have my Fiskars trimmer here. I'm going to move that box out of the way because this is so big. This is a 12-inch paper trimmer. I got it at Walmart for $19.96. And they do have two more. They have a very small one. I think it will cut to 6 inches. They have a medium one that will cut to 9. Now 9 inches will cut an 8.5-inch piece of paper the 8.5-inch way, but it still won't cut it the 11 way. So since this is $20 and that's what we had saved, I got this one because no matter what, then you can cut your 11.5-inch length. If you have a 12 by 12 piece of paper, you can cut that. So this should work for everything. So, and what I do is I usually just kind of take it apart and leave it attached at the bottom. And what I will do is put a piece of tape across here. And when I'm done, I stick my trimmer back in there. That's just the way that I do it, just to kind of keep it safe or whatever. So here's our trimmer, and it has all of our marks on here in centimeters and in inches. So, and it has this that pulls out that gives you all the way out to, it goes all the way out to 15 inches. So that's really great. Our cut line is here. So we're going to pick this up. I haven't read anything about it, so we'll hope that I do this right. All right, now what I'm going to do, I need to kind of see where my cut line is. Okay, my cut line is there. And I know that this piece of paper is 8.5 inches long. So I'm going to line it up with my 7.5 inch mark. Okay, 7.5 inches. That means that I'll have 1 inch on the other side of my cut line. Now this piece here is made to hold down, and that helps hold your paper. So push on that, and then just run your blade across. And here's our 1 inch piece, and let's make sure it's 1 inch. And yes, it is. It's 1 inch. So that's very cool. And now I'm going to, let's see, if this paper was 8.5 by 11, I'm going to have to get a bit of a line in here so that I can, once you get a line in here from your cutting, you can put your paper up to that to see exactly how long it is. But right now there's not a line there. So if I start at 1 and measure it, it goes out to 6.5, which means this piece of paper is 5.5 inches long because I started at 1. So I'm going to line this up with the 5.5 inch mark. Make sure that you push your paper up against the top part of your trimmer here. This is 5.5 inches long. I have to line it up to 4.5 inches. So there we go. Put this down. Cut. Move. Go to 3.5 inches. Okay, there's 3.25. There is no 3.5 on here. Here's 4. Oh, use it on the other side. This is a little bit different. I don't like the fact that there are no marks between 3.25 and 3 7/8. So I know that my half's in there somewhere, but I don't care for that much. So if this is 3.5 inches long, well, if I put it, here we go, there's a 1 inch right there. Line it up to that 1 inch and cut it. I didn't want to use this beforehand, so I have not touched it because I wanted to kind of like find these things that were bothering me. Since I'm doing 1 inch, I'm just going to continue now to just line it up to that 1 inch mark now that I found that. But I wanted to just continue to use this so that you could see any problems that I might have with it, and we could kind of figure them out. And then put that one right on the 1 inch mark, and I'm going to line that up with this line right here because it's not touching either one of the stoppers at the top. So 1 inch, and then line it up with this line so that I know that it's straight. Put this down and hold it, and you can cut either way. Well, that one didn't cut all the way through. Let's try that again. I let off too soon. Hold it down. And there we go. So now we have all of these, and aren't those pretty? Those are really pretty. And then I'm going to go to the other end. And now that I have found that 1 inch mark, I'm just going to line it up with that 1 inch. I do like that. That's pretty nice. Guess I'm not pushing hard enough. I am used to using a guillotine trimmer, which is the kind that you just go chomp. So this is a little bit new for me. And I think that maybe that didn't cut because my paint is so thick. Maybe that's why. And I did not push hard enough. So I'm going to go to the top and make sure that I push it up against the top. Line it up with the 1 inch. Take that one out of the way. Push it up against the top and line it up with 1 inch. We're just going to do a few of each of these. I'm just going to do out this one strip so that we'll have a few of the darker colors and a few of the lighter colors. With the rollers, you can go either way. That is a nice thing with the rollers. There's not just a blade on one side, so you have to go either up or down. And one more, which I'm going to line up with that bottom line. And there we go. So look at the difference between those. Same paint, but just totally different in looks because of that. Now, one thing I will say is what I am probably going to do is I am probably going to take my black permanent marker and I'm going to put marks on these because they are indented in there, but they're very hard to read. So I'm going to put marks like at the 5 and 6 and 7, and I am probably going to figure out exactly where 3.5 is, and I will put a black mark there also, so that if I need to use that, because I only needed to do 1 inch on this side, this worked perfect, but it's not going to work if I have to go out any further. But I do like the way that that just folds up. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and I think that that is a very nice trimmer. So now we have our inchies cut, and we have our puzzle pieces painted. And so we're just going to play with them at this point and keep these little pieces because you never know what you might want to use them for. Throw them in a little envelope and keep them. And so first I think that we will just bring our puzzle pieces up here. And our inchies. And I think we'll get a little bit of our black paint. And a little bit of our white paint, and I think I'll do a little bit of stamping. So now I just want to spread this out a bit so that my stamps can, just get a hold of that. Wipe it off over here. Oops, I just spread that out a little bit. Sorry, that was off a screen. And then just choose a couple. Maybe I'll do 2 of each. And I know which stamp I want to use. I should have actually just pulled that one right out because this is my absolute favorite one. So I'm going to just get some paint on there. Look at it and make sure that I have paint where I want it. There we go. And then just stamp. Now, if I want it to be more centered or know exactly where I'm at, go. I'm going to try and get the ghost stamp, and you can do it this way if you want to try and be more centered. And then just push down on it. Try not to make sure that you move it. Hold it with one finger while you're pressing over here, then hold it with that finger while you're pressing over here. And there we go. There's our ghost stamp of that one. And I'm going to do it also on these. And then I might even do it in white. I'm just going to guess on this one because if it's off center, I think I'm going to like that. I think I still got it pretty centered. And then I'm going to do the ghost stamp, but I'm going to do that this way so that I can press on all the different spots. And there we go. There's our ghost stamp. And then we can doodle on those along with our stamping. And I like the looks of these circles, so I think I'm going to just get some in one area. I'm not getting it where I want it. There we go. That should be good. Okay, and now I'm going to choose what I want. And I think I want to do it just kind of like this. And that's why I'm doing it upside down. Now, if you touch that black paint and you rub it across the back of your page or your little paper here, it doesn't matter. Pull that off. There, I like that. I like the way that that's offset. That almost reminds me a little bit of like a moon or something with some sky behind it. I'm going to take one of these and pick up a little bit over here. Now this side I hadn't used, so it should be fairly dark. This I had used, so it should be more of a ghost print. And there we go with that. So those are some of the things that we can use. You can use your markers to make marks. On something like this, I like to use permanent markers, because then you don't have to worry about if you put something on top of it. And maybe just kind of make a little swirly here. Come over and put some on the other side. There we go. And then we can just edge that with the purple also. And you can do these, you can layer them up. Whoops, and I got way off on my purple there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make all of the sides that thick. Nobody's going to know in the end. There we go. Except you'll know because you watched the video. But if I give this to someone as a little gift in a card, they won't know that those edges weren't supposed to be that thick. And that's the biggest thing, is that you have to remember that if you make a mistake, just fix it. Nobody's going to know that you made a mistake. Cover it up with something. See, and that's really cute just all on its own. Now these little inchies look really cute. You can put 4 of them together like this, and on a piece of backing paper. I stuck my finger in the paint. And a little piece of backing paper, and then you can put that on the front of a little note card, and that would be really cute. So I don't want the purple again. I want to try my black permanent marker to go around the edge of this purple puzzle piece. Now I'm not trying to go on the sides. The sides are painted purple, so I don't have to worry about that. I could do that if I wanted to, but I don't really want to. I just want to go around the edge. And doing stuff like this, it would really help if I'd put my glasses on. They're right on the top of my head. There we go. Oh, that's much better. Now I can see it. But just go around the edges like that. And it just makes it stand out a little bit more. See? So I'll finish that. Maybe put some little white dots at the end of those. Put some white swirls. Let me see if I've got, yeah. I've got my white correction pen here. Excuse me. And usually if I paint in black, I doodle in white. If I paint in white, then I doodle in black or in color. Maybe just put a little swirl on there. And maybe a little swirl here. Just kind of go off the page and come back on. Since we only put half of that circle on the page, it looks like that swirl, you know, continues out there. There we go. Now, the swirl is not perfect, but the thing is, with your abstract art, with your mixed media, nothing is supposed to be totally perfect, and you're supposed to just be doing it for fun. So this one I think would look really nice if it was edged in black, except that I'm not going to continue until that is completely dry. These ones, I like the way that they are, and I think the only thing that I'm going to do to those is put some glossy accents on them. I'm going to have to stop right here because I didn't realize how long I went, and this video might not upload. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and I forgot to hit record, so I'm sitting here just talking along. And these two I did with the little bit of sparkle, not sparkle Mod Podge. It is the gloss luster Mod Podge. And don't forget on your puzzle pieces to do your edges. Now I think this one, I'm probably all of them, I will actually put a little word on, like love or hope or dream, just a nice affirmation word. These two I left very plain and covered them with the gold shimmer glue because I love how that turns out. And those two I definitely left for a word. Now these two were covered with clear nail polish, and the one thing I was showing was when you paint with clear nail polish, where did I put it? Here it is. On permanent marker, the clear nail polish will move permanent marker. So what you do is put on one light quick coat. Don't keep going over it. Just put on one light quick coat, let it down, and let it set. And then when you go back to do it again, you can put on a heavier coat and, you know, take a little bit more time, because that first coat is going to pick up and very possibly move a little bit of your permanent marker. And so you don't want that, you don't want everything to smear. So go with a quick coat, let it dry, and then when you go to put the next coat on, that coat is going over top of the nail polish that you already put on there, and it won't move your permanent marker. So there we go. Now we've got a nice smooth coat on it. It was a little bit not too smooth, and this one is a little bit bumpy. I don't do the edges usually again. Of course, that's where I picked it up and the sides weren't dry, so I will touch that up later. But I do the sides with just one coat. And then, but I usually, with the nail polish, because I had to go so fast, I cover it with 2 coats. The second coat kind of levels everything out and makes it look better, because that first coat might have missed a spot here or there. And like I said, with this one, once you're putting on the second coat like this, you can go back over it and kind of tilt it to your light and see, you know, how you like it. If you feel like you've got the whole thing, if you didn't go back and touch it up quickly before the nail polish starts to dry, and then let that dry. Also, by doing 2 coats, it gives it like a thicker look to it. So what I had done with these was finished my edging on here, did some doodling on that one. This one you saw. This one I just outlined the colors, and I like it just like that. This one I outlined my flower in black, and it was the stamp off, so the black behind it was very light. So I put some of the pink glitter glue on there, and because the glitter glue is actually see-through, the only thing that covers is where the glitter is. You can see the darkness of the flower behind there, and I kind of didn't like it. So then I went around my black outline with some pink to brighten it up a little bit, put a little bit of the pink in the middle. Didn't like that either. So, and then I realized I wasn't recording. So we'll just go ahead. I'm going to put just a drop of this peach colored nail polish in the center. Just because I think that I will like that. And there we go. And I do like that better than just the little bits of glitter that I had put in the center. So I'll let that dry, and if I want, I can always go back and put a second coat on there and just drop it on, and it will make it just a little bit taller. So I have this one that I doodled on and really don't care for, so I'll put that one aside and go back to it later. I haven't decided what to do with the stripe because I like it. I might just paint the whole thing, clear coat it, and then put a word on it. Here I doodled around my flower in white with some little white stitching around the edges. And this one I doodled around in white with a swirl in the middle. These two I have not done anything with yet. So you are going to want a piece of your parchment paper for all of these finishes to dry on top, because you don't want them to stick to whatever paper you set them on. And so like with this one here, I think that I will just put some regular Mod Podge on it. And, oops, oh, and I have another little one over here. So I don't know what I did with my paper towel to wipe off my brush. I'll use Grandpa's. He always leaves his sitting behind the table. There we go. What was I going to do? Oh, I was going to put the clear Mod Podge on this one. And I think that my stripes I'm going to do with fingernail polish, because I like the gloss of the fingernail polish a little bit more, but I like to have a little variety because I might not want something super glossy. And there we go. That's as easy as finishing it off is just either put nail polish, or you can put some of your glimmer on there, or you can put your Mod Podge if you have any left. And that's what our Inchies look like. Now all we need to do is, when they dry, we just need to put our magnets on the back. Now I got these magnetic strips from Walmart, and I think that they're very thin. I should have opened them ahead of time. Which actually, if they are very thin, that would be fine. Looks like maybe they're different sizes. Ooh, good thing that wasn't open. Okay. Okay, this is a whole sheet? No. Here we go. Okay. They're normal size. And like I said when I was showing you them, I like to get the flat ones because the other ones, they want to curl up. And I don't like that. I never can figure out how to get them to go flat. But I saw this line on the peel off part, and I thought that they were only that thick, wide, and they're not. So I'm just going to cut them that wide, because you don't need a whole ton of magnet on the back of them to hold them on a piece of metal. And then the one thing that I do like to do is I like to put, rip that off right about there. I like to put a little bit of glue, and it really doesn't matter what kind of glue, but I like to put a little bit of glue on the back of mine before I stick it on, because to me it seems like the and this is just one of my glues from the Dollar Tree. I'll put it on the back of here. I'm going to use the paper to just kind of spread that out. To me, the magnets never stick really well. I'm going to put that on there. Line it up to the edge. Oh, I'm getting a bit of a shake. And there we go. And I'm just going to take one on that side, and then I'm just going to put one on this side. And that will be fine. Now, if you wanted to hold something heavy, then you might want to cover the whole back with it. But if you're not going to cover anything heavy, if you're not going to try and hold anything heavy, and they're more just for decoration, then what's the point of using, so much magnet? And there we go. Now we can just stick that one right on our refrigerator, and it'll be set to go. Now with our puzzle pieces, we can just stick them in just different places. Stick a piece here. Actually, on this one, I would probably go all the way across and then put a couple small pieces on the little pointy parts. And because you've got this you can cut this, that works great because you can make it any size that you want to make it. And if you don't get the glue all over the whole magnet, it doesn't matter. There is sticky on that magnet. So you don't have to worry if you're completely covered. Now what I will do with these is I'm going to take these couple that I just did, and I'm going to stick them under a book right away to make sure that the glue dries and the magnet holds. And I do that with anything that I glue. I get a little impatient sometimes, but it really is the best way to do it. So there we go. I did that one like that. And so now you can't see it from the front at all. So there are those two, and they're all ready to go. I'll be back in just a few minutes to show you what we're going to need for next week. I just wanted to show you one more quick tip. When you want to put a word on your Inchies, but you don't know, you have a hard time with your writing. So what you can do is write your word on a piece of tissue paper. And this is just a piece of tissue paper that I got, I think it was at Christmas time. It's not even actually white. It's more cream than white, but that doesn't matter. And rip around the edges so that the edges will blend in. If you cut your edges, the edges will show. And then I'm just using my water glue, and just take your Inchie and paint the whole thing with your water glue. I'm using the water glue because it will not react with the permanent marker that I put along the edges. And then just to pick up your word, just use your damp brush and just pick it up. Decide where you want it and set it down. And then just put a little bit more of your water glue over the top. The tissue paper pretty much just disappears. And that way you've got a word that you know that you like the way it's written. A lot of times I don't like my writing, so if I write it and I don't like it on the tissue paper, I just write it again and again till I get one that I like. And then there we go. I've got the word on my Inchie. The tissue paper really doesn't show. And I know that it's going to be something I like, because I don't want to ruin my Inchie by writing the word on there and then going, oh, my handwriting looks terrible. I just wanted to show you that really quick. Now I'll be back to show you what we need for next week. Okay, I'm back with my finished projects, and I have here just a little card that I put families are pieced together with love, and all of the words and letters I put on with the tissue paper like I showed you. And then with the love, it was a little thin for me, so I went over it with my permanent marker, but being that I had already put it on there, I could just trace what I had and I knew it was going to turn out nice. And then I put little white dots on there because it wasn't standing out enough. So that's just a nice little note card that you can make with Inchies. And then I have the puzzle pieces that we made. This is my absolute favorite. I just love this one. And then here's this one, and this one I did put a strip down the middle because I didn't want it to bend. I forgot, when you're going to use an Inchie, I did this on cardstock, but still, if you're going to make it into a magnet, put a piece of chipboard behind it, like cereal box or something like that, so that it's a little stronger and it won't bend in the middle. Here's the striped one, and on that I put a couple of coats of nail polish. I said glossy accents earlier, but that's not what I meant. I just meant clear nail polish. And this one, I put laugh on there again with the tissue paper. And puzzles just remind me of fun. So when I was a kid, we used to play a lot of board games and make puzzles, and or put together puzzles, and it was just really a good time. So this is the texture paste that I put on there. This one has 2 coats of nail polish. This is what it looks like matte. And what I did these with, I painted the edges of this one with yellow paint, but what this is our dies that we made with the food coloring and the Easter egg color kits, whichever one you had. And I just dripped the dye onto the texture paste, and it just kind of soaks in, so you can see what it looks like before you shine it up. It's very, very matte. And but I think this one is really pretty. And again, I could just make a magnet out of it. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with that one. And then I have these Inchies left, and I've decided not to put magnets on them, because I've decided I might want to use them on a card, in a project. So since I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with them, I figured no point in putting the magnet on yet until I'm actually ready to send them off as a magnet, or until I decide to put them on something else. So that's what we've done today, and I hope that you enjoyed that. What we're going to need for next week is we are going to need bobby pins. So that's $1 from the Dollar Tree. And we have some eyelash trim, and that also was from the Dollar Tree, so that's $1. And then I picked up 2 ribbons, and you do want thin ribbon. This one is 1/8 of an inch, and this one is 3/16. And I just got a couple colors that I thought would look good with the eyelash trim that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. And these were 47 cents a piece at Walmart. They have all different kinds of colors, and they have a few different styles. This one has little loops on it, and the other one is straight. And the smaller ones are all 47 cents for a reel, and you do want the smaller ones, you don't want big ones. So that's what we'll need for next week. So we have $1 because those are 47 each. So we have $1 in ribbon, $1 for our pins, and $1 for this. So we have $3. We'll have $2 to add to our savings. Woohoo! We're already adding up for our heat gun. So that's what we'll need for next week. Oh, and you also might want some of your twine. If you got this kind of twine, that's fine. And if you got the baker's twine with the colored stripes on it, that's good too. So that's what we will need for next week. And this is what we did for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.